Blizzard stopping us, we working.
In preparation for his highly anticipated clash with Canelo Alvarez this year, Terence Crawford has resumed training much earlier than expected. However, it's not just the timing that's surprising. Crawford appears to be pushing himself beyond his limits to get ready for this fight. His latest training video might just be his most intense yet. It's not just about weightlifting and neck exercises. Terence Crawford is ramping up both his strength and skill as he aims to become the third man to defeat Canelo Alvarez in boxing. A recent training video confirmed Turki Al-Sheik's earlier announcement that Crawford had sustained an injury but would return to training swiftly. Fans have been amazed by Crawford's remarkable shape as he gears up for the fight. Known for his exceptional skills and unbeaten record, Terence Crawford remains a shining example of the power of dedicated training and strategic physical conditioning. I think that directly, like,
Good round.
behind Terence Crawford's incredible success lies a set of intense training secrets and a rigorous regimen that have molded him into one of the greatest boxers of all time. Central to his preparation for the Canelo Alvarez fight is a diverse range of activities aimed at sharpening his boxing skills and keeping him in peak physical condition. Nathan Terence credits boxing and sports scientists navigating a revolutionary change, a collection of techniques and standards, and keeping him in peak physical condition. What's known and witnessed about Crawford as a fighter is nothing short of extraordinary. As one of only 3 active double undisputed world champions, he possesses the rare ability to jab and deliver powerful punches with both hands.
Deep breath. Keep doing what you're doing. Just using that jab good. Using that jab good.
With 41 fights, 41 victories, 31 knockouts, and a relentless drive to finish off wounded opponents, Terence Crawford has proven himself a force in the boxing world. Now 36, Crawford is committed to maintaining peak performance as he approaches his late 30s. For his last 3 fights, he has teamed up with expert conditioning and supplement specialist Victor Conti to elevate his preparation to the next level. As Crawford moves up in weight for his anticipated fight later this year, his fitness and conditioning will be crucial pillars in his pursuit of further cementing his legendary status. According to Keontae, the results have been nothing short of remarkable. Since I've been working with Terence, this being our 4th fight, based on the data and blood tests we've collected, this is the best shape we've ever seen him in, Keontae shared. I'd classify it as superhuman. While staying in close contact with his team, Crawford has been training in the high-altitude environment of Colorado Springs, Colorado, at 6,700 feet above sea level. The effects of this intense regimen are evident in the exceptional fitness he consistently displays, which has helped him defeat champions like Errol Spence Jr., Sean Porter, Kell Brook, and others.
Well, yeah, the fighters that I work with, I do not encourage them to do any road work. If they do, I try to keep it down to once a week.
Returning to sea level can temporarily disrupt an athlete's system, causing fitness metrics to fluctuate, Keontae explains. To address this, the team is focused on recalibrating Terence Crawford's levels after his high-altitude training in Colorado. You hit the rebound, and your figures and performance climb back up to 8, 9, 10, 11. All the benefits of training in Colorado Springs are perfectly timed for peak performance, Keontae said. During Crawford's time in Los Angeles, he's been equipped with an oxymask, a device designed to provide what Keontae calls super oxygenation. Explaining the science, Keontae noted, at sea level, you typically breathe 20.9% oxygen. Terence, is using an open design mask that delivers 68% oxygen, amplifying his ability to recover and perform at his absolute best. In the past, 8 to 10 times the amount of oxygen you get in a day, says Keontae.
Under 3 miles. And the reason is you're developing slow twitch muscle fiber when you do tempo type long distance road work. So
here's how it works. Red blood cells contain hemoglobin, which acts like seats on a bus carrying oxygen and nutrients to muscle tissue. Your blood is composed of about 55% plasma liquid and 45% red blood cells. When all the hemoglobin seats are filled with oxygen, the excess spills into the plasma. This process is called superoxygenation. Most cases, the drainage. So how do you stimulate the effects of altitude for recovery without changing location? You do it with advanced equipment. Keontae has dedicated himself to perfecting these methods, overcoming a controversial chapter in his career. His ties won. Over 2 decades ago, his infamous Balco facility in the Bay Area was raided by federal law enforcement for its role in developing steroids. Balco's client list included Olympic sprinters Marion Jones and Tim Montgomery, boxing champion Shane Mosley, baseball's home run king Barry Bonds, and other athletic legends. Today, Keontae has redirected his expertise toward advancing legal, cutting-edge training and recovery techniques.
Genetically, there's obvious variation, but you're about 50% slow, 50% fast. The type of training that you do can make you 80% fast.
After serving 4 months in a minimum security federal prison, Victor Conti has turned over a new leaf, building a successful career with his company, Snack. Specializing in legal conditioning, sleep aids, and recovery supplements, Snack has established connections with numerous boxing champions, including Devin Haney, Demetrius Andrade, and Claressa Shields. Through superoxygenation, Count says Terence Crawford is achieving the most powerful oxygen-concentrated recovery possible. In Crawford's hotel room, the Oxy mask is equipped with a diffuser that delivers enriched oxygen directly through his nostrils and mouth. He breathes in 68% oxygen, Conte explains, and exhales metabolic waste products like lactic acid, ammonia, and carbon dioxide. This process flushes his system of these waste products, maximizing recovery and performance. Somberly, Ricardo reads, Crawford spoke about his exceptional fitness, saying, "I feel I'll be stronger and more energized. I won't have to lose the extra 7 pounds, so it's going to be less stress on my body. I'm ready. I'm feeling great, and I'm good right now." The incredible results of Crawford's preparation are evident through blood tests and active sensors tracking key performance markers, including heart rate, blood flow, breath frequency, hydration, and oxygen saturation. His heart rate is 1/3 slower than the average person's, and his resting breath rate is remarkably efficient. What I love is how calm he is. I've never seen him this relaxed, Victor Conti said. When he comes back between rounds, his heart rate will drop quickly, and he'll head back out fresh each time. He's a very scientifically prepared boxer. The key lies in training and recovery, Keontae emphasized. You've got to allow adequate recovery time, and that's where these gauges come in. We're bringing science into boxing. This isn't old school anymore. Crawford's weight cut for the fight's weigh-in will be seamless, Keontae assured. It's like landing a 747 perfect pounds. Perfect, the easiest cut he's ever had. That's what science does. We'll hit the scale perfectly, he said. Terence, maybe the most scientifically prepared boxer in the history of the sport. This meticulous preparation will be crucial if Crawford can cap it off by defeating Canelo impressively, potentially setting the stage for a remarkable retirement. Keontae added, Crawford can reach 168 pounds in just 3 months, and he's ready to prove it in the ring. He said.
Moving that jab up and down. And then when you go downstairs, take that downstairs, come up with the left hook. It's gonna be open.
We'll need 3 months to promote the fight, so there's plenty of time, Keontae said. I have a team of very smart people around him to help increase his caloric intake and develop type 2B fast-twitch muscle fibers, which are key for explosive power and speed. It's not about tempo running or long-distance training, it's sprint, interval training, and weightlifting. That's the plan for Canelo. But right now, the focus is entirely on the present, Keontae added. You don't talk about Step B until you've conquered Step A. Trust me, Keontae is in charge. He gives me the freedom to move forward, and he's a very smart guy who understands how things work. He's all in and has been great to work with because he listens and gets it. In addition to his team of trainers, Crawford also benefits from working with 3-weight world champion and Hall of Fame inductee James Toney, who wants to contribute to his preparation.
With Crawford's recent win, he's been asking for Canelo. He'll beat Canelo.
Speaking of Mill City Boxing, the 92-fight veteran, who like Canelo was never stopped in his career, stated that he could teach Crawford how to secure a knockout. It would be huge if that fight happens, he said. I'd go back into camp with Crawford and show him how to do it for real. I respect BAC, but if he can't help Crawford, I'll make sure it gets done. That head will be cooked, fish fried, and hot ribs. He continued, Canelo can be knocked out. He's not all that. He's not James Toney. He's not in my league. He can't hold my bag. And then Toney has made his feelings clear in the past, dismissing any comparisons between his own super middleweight success and Canelo's achievements.
He could potentially just...
Same thing.
Same ending?
Same thing. Trust me.
Crawford, however, is fully aware of the challenge he would face and is determined to move forward in order to cement his already stellar legacy. Former unified welterweight champion Keith Thurman shed some light on the situation, offering a possible explanation for why the Guadalajara native has avoided the highly anticipated fight. So, in an interview with Fight Hype TV, Thurman shared a story from a few years ago where Canelo made a revealing comment about the potential matchup with Crawford. I remember Canelo saying he didn't want to fight Crawford because it reminded him of facing Amir Khan, Thurman recalled, referring to the challenge Canelo would face in facing a skilled, fast opponent like Crawford.
About Crawford, Crawford's been calling out Canelo, and Canelo now is being rumored to be chasing Benavidez. So I guess my question for you is, do you think
Canelo Alvarez fought former unified lightweight welterweight champion Amir Khan in May 2016 to defend his WBC middleweight title. Khan, a welterweight at the time, had moved up 2 weight divisions to challenge Canelo in a middleweight bout, much like Terence Crawford would if they fought. And in 2017, Canelo became Amir Khan, and May decided to police his own village. Before 2016, Canelo, in a middleweight bout, much like Terence Crawford would if they fought. Thurman went on to explain that, similar to the Khan fight, Canelo has little to gain from facing Crawford. Fighting the smaller guy, there's not much to gain, Thurman said. And if he wins, there's nothing significant to take away from it. It wouldn't say much.
Canelo should chase glory at 175, become undisputed, and take that route, or give this fight to Bud, the smaller man, which could be a bigger fight?
While Canelo Alvarez completely dominated Amir Khan and brutally knocked him out in the 6th round, the aftermath was less than favorable. Fans and critics accused Canelo of cherry-picking easy fights, and even before the fight, many had labeled it a mismatch due to the significant weight difference between the two. Keith Thurman, while understanding the confidence and desperation behind Terence Crawford's challenge, argued that Canelo would not accept the fight. When you have a legacy like that, you get to choose what you want to do with it, Thurman explained. He's in a position to make his own decisions about his career.
On paper, what route do you think he should go?
Nah, man. I mean, when we talk Canelo, I mean, you're talking about like the Mexican king, you know? So when you talk Canelo...
According to Thurman, Canelo Alvarez feels similarly about facing Terence Crawford, so much so that he has previously taken shots at Crawford and advised him to stay at 147 pounds. However, Thurman's argument doesn't fully hold up, as Crawford had already addressed the weight disparity issue ahead of the Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga fight in September. Speaking on the matter during an appearance on Sean Porter's The Porter Way podcast, Crawford pointed out that Canelo has been setting his own catch weights for years. Canelo fought a smaller Floyd Mayweather, a smaller Amir Khan, and Jermell Charlo, Crawford said, adding, "If I were such an easy fight because of the weight difference, why would Canelo demand $150 million for the fight?"
And when you talk about kings in the division, kings do what kings do, you know? So whatever he wants to do, man, that's how it is. You know, his last...
Crawford dismissed Canelo's argument as an excuse, stating, "I'm a threat to his legacy. While we've seen enough in this sport to know that anything can happen, the chances of a Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez fight happening right now seems slim. With Bob Arum already pushing for Beterbiev to face Canelo next year, it remains to be seen who Canelo will give a shot to." I remember when... Let me go. I remember when...
That's just what you're going to see out of Canelo. But the beauty is, you know, we get such a beautiful skill set of boxing, poise.
On the other hand, Leonard Ellerbe, CEO of Mayweather Promotions, believes there is a clearer path for Canelo Alvarez. He asserts that a potential showdown between Canelo and David Benavidez holds more appeal than a fight with Terence Crawford, despite Crawford's desire to face Canelo. Ellerbe feels that Benavidez is the better option. According to Ellerbe, the prospect of Canelo stepping into the ring with Benavidez is seen as a much bigger matchup. This comes after Alvarez hinted at a major announcement regarding his next fight. Ellerbe has his reasons for making this claim, pointing to the greater intrigue and draw of a Canelo versus Benavidez bout.
Talk to him and Terence Crawford now. Crawford calling him out, saying he'll go to 68.
I really don't want to comment too much on that.
According to Leonard Ellerbe, the anticipated clash between Canelo Alvarez and David Benavidez is expected to generate more excitement and interest within the boxing community. Many fans believe Benavidez could be the one to challenge and potentially dethrone Canelo from his super middleweight throne. Their story has been building for some time, as Benavidez has been calling out Alvarez even before his fight against Caleb Plant and before Terence Crawford's undisputed welterweight championship victory. While the idea of a Canelo versus Benavidez fight wasn't widely discussed before, the mystery will soon be resolved. Alvarez is set to announce his next move during a Mexican TV broadcast on Azteca, scheduled for February 15th at noon.
You know, Terence is a terrific fighter. He's pound for pound, you know.
Canelo Alvarez is addressing the future direction of his career, and many fans are hoping it will lead to a fight against David Benavidez. However, reports suggest something entirely different. According to these reports, Canelo is set to face Jermall Charlo next in a highly anticipated, undisputed super middleweight title fight. The event is scheduled for May 4th in Las Vegas, adding to the excitement surrounding the Cinco de Mayo weekend tradition associated with Canelo. Fans have been eagerly speculating about who Canelo would choose as his opponent for this significant matchup.
Crawford wants to do. Hey, I mean, he knows what he's aspiring to do, what he wants to do in his career. Hope he gets to fight. It's not just that easy to say that you want to fight.
Various names, including Terence Crawford, David Benavidez, and William Smith, had been linked to a potential showdown with Canelo Alvarez. However, recent reports from The Ring suggest that Jermall Charlo is set to be Canelo's opponent for the highly anticipated bout scheduled for May. Jermall will be seeking redemption for his twin brother Jermell Charlo's previous defeat to Canelo, hairs D and brings him in line to face Canelo in a potential life-changing defeat for Canelo. When asked if the Canelo vs. Crawford fight would generate more revenue than one against Benavidez, Ellerby responded, "No, I know the numbers. I know the business. No, it's not bigger. It has nothing to do with whether someone deserves the fight or not. We're just talking about the business side of things. The Benavidez vs. Canelo fight and Crawford vs. Canelo, there's no comparison."
Canelo, you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't happen like that. And I don't have nothing to do with any of that, but I'm just saying that. But if that's what he wants to do, I support it.
Terence Crawford is undoubtedly one of the best fighters in the sport. He's proven that. However, when it comes to the business side, it's a different story. For example, Errol Spence and Terence Crawford are both tremendous fighters, and everyone knows Errol is my guy. But the biggest fight in boxing was always Tank versus Ryan. While Spence versus Crawford was the most talked about fight in the last 6 or 7 years, with two undefeated young fighters in their prime, the business side of things told a different story. That fight did half of what Tank's fight did. And while Spence versus Crawford did well, it still shows how important the business side is. You need to understand how the marketplace works, with factors like piracy and other elements affecting the success of a PPV event. It all comes down to knowing what you're doing and what you're not. And I think also...
Well, I mean, you know, I'm not one of them people that say is that, oh, he's in over his head kind of thing. I would never say that. He's a terrific.
We're not in a situation here where we're just throwing money away. There's one promoter in particular who doesn't care, but we focus on making smart, thoughtful decisions. Sometimes that means making fights people don't necessarily agree with, but there's always a strategy behind it and a long-term plan. I'm excited for this card to kick off on Amazon Prime. It's going to be an incredible lineup of great fights. No, it's not the all-star team, but these are really good matchups, and we expect a tremendous response and strong support from the fans.
Fighter.
What would Leonard Ellerby, the boxing fan and the boxing mind, the man who's made so much money in this business, what would he...
When asked about who he'd favor in a potential fight between Canelo and Crawford, Leonard Ellerby replied, "I haven't really thought about that, but if you're asking me from a business perspective, the Benavidez fight is bigger. It's a much bigger fight regardless." Speaking to Marcos Vasquez from Fight Hub TV, Sean Porter discussed Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions and the power difference between the two fighters. "I'm concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially over the course of 12 rounds, Porter stated.
Of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, you know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets late.
Porter offered an interesting analysis, suggesting that Canelo would eventually slow down, as he has in most of his recent fights. Porter believes Canelo would start aggressively, pushing the pace and breaking Crawford down, but as the fight progresses into the later rounds, Canelo might lack the energy, giving Crawford an opportunity. Because I don't want to be bringing up that I'm sure he does, but after recent fights, Crawford gets physically draining, maybe like his own. Despite this, Sean Porter didn't seem fully convinced he had the answer to who would come out on top. "There are so many components that make a champion," he said. "It's a conversation that could easily last an hour when you break down all the factors that make Terence Crawford who he is."
And he still got that kind of steam, but, you know, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend.
Sean Porter, who was stopped by Crawford in the 10th round of their 147-pound title fight, disagrees with the notion that Canelo Alvarez has the upper hand. Speaking to Fight Hype, Porter argued that Crawford has several advantages over the aging Canelo. You have to shift your mindset away from just strength, he said. Boxing isn't only about who's stronger. It's about who's smarter, who's more athletic, who's faster, who has more stamina, and who has more experience. When you add all those factors together, it becomes clear that a lot is on Terence's side.
There's so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo has.
I think that fight would be really interesting. Canelo isn't the same as he was 3 or 4 years ago. I wouldn't say he's declining quickly, but his career is definitely evolving.
Definitely not doing this. It hasn't done this in 2 or 3 years. So obviously it ain't a fast decline, but Canelo's certainly just not who he used to be. Terence Crawford, you imagine he's probably training at 160, which means his body's not foreign to being as high as 165.
While Porter might not be certain if Bud can secure the win, Crawford's other former opponent believes he can. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more exciting videos, make sure to hit the bell icon and stay updated. Subscribe to Boxing Hub now for all the latest in boxing.